Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Inspiring Educators. And for this episode, I'm very happy to have a classmate of mine at Laguna State Polytechnic University, and she was also one of the speakers in the recently concluded TESOL Expo. And she's here to share to us her journey in becoming an educator, the challenges that she faced, and how does she inspire her learners. So without further ado, let's all welcome Miss Uzelle Wagan. Miss Wagan, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much. I'm good. And you?
I'm doing great, ma'am. And finally, thank you so much for dropping by to my very
Yes.
humble podcast. I'm very honored to have you here.
Likewise, sir. It's both an honor and pleasure to be here and, of course, to be interviewed by you.
That's good to hear. I'll just call you Miss Zelle. Will that be okay?
Yes, it would be fine.
Okay, thank you. Miss Zelle, me and my listeners would like to know more about you first before we move into the highlights of this podcast episode. So, Miss Zelle, can you introduce yourself to us, please?
Okay, so good afternoon once again, everyone. I'm Uzelle Bianca Wagan. I'm 26 years old, actually turning 27 this year. I'm an online ESO teacher as of the moment, and I've been teaching for almost 6 years in kindergarten and primary students. Some of my students call me Uzelle or Miss Wagan, Miss Uzelle when I'm here in the Philippines, and my students call me when I'm in Macau, Bianca or Miss Bianca. So that's all, Sir Bry.
Wow, that's nice. So, we are very lucky to interview you because you got to interact with educators here and as well the young learners from China. So we're very lucky right now. Now, Ms. Zelle, we also wanted to know what's your journey, or can you share a little bit of your story on how you become an educator?
Okay, so at first, to be honest, to be an educator, it's not my dream profession. It's just actually my uncle, my aunt, and my parents, they wanted for me to be a teacher because most of my uncles and my aunts, they are teachers. So they're like, you try to be a teacher because, it's a stable job, and even though you're getting old, it's better than the other professions. Because my dream job or my dream profession is to be a flight attendant. So you see, it's very far from being a teacher and to be a flight attendant. But I don't have choice but the time. So I just followed my parents, my relatives. And then along the journey, I found it interesting because I'm a kind of person who is rather really shy, and I don't want to talk in front of many people. That's why at first I thought that if I'm gonna be a teacher, I'm gonna be talking in front of different people or different persons or my students for the rest of my life, but then as the time went by, I started liking it. I started to boost my self-confidence when it comes to speaking in front of other people. And after that, I graduated last 2014. So I never taught here in the Philippines. Actually, after graduation, I just waited for, I think that was just like 2 months, and then I flew to Macau. But of course, when I went there, I did not get my dream job or the job that I wanted to, as a teacher, because at that time I don't have any eligibility. I just have the diploma, but it's not enough when you're going to other countries. I didn't have my license, because that time I thought that license is not important, and then I told myself maybe next year or for the next 2 years I'll just take it. And then luckily I've got an opportunity to work in an education center, but by that time I was just part-time assistant teacher. So I just help the teachers or the head teachers, for example, when we are going to have some students, I'm the one who's going to assess the students. I'll help them to prepare their lesson plans, their instructional materials for the students. And when it comes to learning process, I was there as well to assist the teachers, at the same time. And then as the time went by, I was absorbed by the company, so they got me, and then they hired me as a teacher, as an English teacher in their company. So it was really a great opportunity. But at first, again, I thought that it's very hard. It was very hard because I I was supposed to teach in secondary school. So, but then by that time, way back 2015, 2016, I was challenged to teach young learners, and I don't have any experiences handling young learners. I mean, I have experiences taking care of my little sisters and brothers, but it's very different when it comes to teaching, because you're going to teach these kids. They're gonna get some knowledge from you. So it's crucial by that time. But as the time went by, I'm lucky as well, because my head teacher was very supportive, and she was really coaching me by that time. So she taught me everything, how to handle the students, not only how to teach, but also how to handle the different behavior. Especially, I was in Macau, so I was handling not only Chinese students, I was also handling different students, like from Poland, from Australia, from Portugal. So they have different behaviors, they have their cultural differences. So you really have to adjust with that. So and also, one of the most challenging that I've encountered was that the language barrier, because they are not native speaker of the language. So they are Chinese. Most of them are Chinese students. So by the time, gestures and TPRs, that's what I'm always telling to the teachers, are not enough, or were not enough by that time. You really have to think of something that will really catch their attention. So I thought myself, if gestures and TPRs were not enough by that time, I actually tried to learn their language, even though the basic one, like what's your name, how old are you, because it's very important. And when I started talking in their language, even though just the basic one, they smiled and they feel happy, because it's like they could feel that I really want to connect them. That's why I started to learn their language. So yeah, language barrier is one of the most challenging part with me. And also, you are in China, so there is discrimination and racism. It's not very easy to deal with the parents of the students, especially Chinese people. I'm not telling all of them, but most or some of the Chinese parents, because when they hear that, oh, who is the teacher, or where is she from, she's from the Philippines, she's a Filipina, and then they will think, how come? So they have their thought like that, like because in other countries, as we all know, that most of the Filipinos, they work as a domestic helper. So once they hear the Filipina, it's like there is doubt, like, can this person really teach my student? How good she is? It's something like that. Okay, is she really an English teacher? Or even you're an English teacher, they prefer to have a teacher or to have a native English speaker, even though she doesn't have, or he doesn't have any background in teaching, because blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, and they thought that if their students will learn from that person, she's gonna be very good in English. But in reality, it's not, So that's one of the biggest challenges for me at the same time, talking to the parents, dealing with parents. You can't please everybody, because some parents, they will like you or they liked you, but some parents, they won't. Whatever you do or whatever things that you've done for their kids, they won't really appreciate it because they don't like you. And then I am just like, I thought myself that, oh, it's okay if they don't like me. At least there are still some parents or students who believed in me. So that's what I'm looking forward every single day. So I just don't mind them. If you don't like me, it's fine. I've come to the point that if you don't like me, then why are you here? Why your students are here in my class and still doing the class with me? But then as the time went by, they started liking me because they saw how I handled the students and how I handle the different behavior of their kids. Remember, I am teaching young learners. Some of them, they might say or they might think that, oh, young learners, toddlers, they're very easy to teach because they're easy to persuade, but it's not. It's really not, because teaching young learners, there is a big responsibility when it comes to their learning, their knowledge, and of course when their safety.
Yeah, well, that was really a very interesting journey on how you become an educator. And as you've heard, Miss Zelle really wanted to become a flight attendant. Actually, dear listeners, if you're gonna see her in face to face, she got the look, she got the height. So she was a perfect flight attendant. However, there was a different calling, and
yes, that's true.
That calling was for her to be the second mother of these young learners that she taught in Macau. And I'm also gonna be supporting her idea that it's very difficult to teach when you are in another country, plus the fact that she's handling young learners. She is starting them up, so that was really difficult. And also with the racism, even if you are the best educator, but then when they saw that you came from this country, for example, Philippines, there will be a doubt. They're gonna test you for several times up until you've proven yourself to them. So I can really relate to the journey of Miss Zelle on how she became an educator. And now for my third question for you, Miss Zelle. We all knew that in this pandemic situation, not just Filipino, not just the teachers in China faced it, but then I wanted to know, how did you cope up as Zelle and as teacher Zelle in this pandemic situation? What are the things that you've learned, adjustments? So would you like to share it with us as well, please?
Yes, sure. Of course, so this pandemic started last year, right? So actually, I was supposed to go back in Macau last April, but then they announced the lockdown, so I don't have any choice just to be here. So at first, I thought that teaching online is very easy because I have my laptops, I have the internet at home, and I'm a teacher. I said, oh, I think I could handle it. But when I started teaching, or when I started to be an online ESL teacher, I found it that it's really, really hard, because when you are teaching face to face in like a normal classroom setup, it would be easy to control the students' behavior, or it is more engaging when you're teaching your kids. And during online, it's very hard because the only thing that you have is your laptop. You have to sit down in front of your in front of your laptop. You have to be a great actress, I should say that, because you're the best visual aids or the best instrument that you could have is yourself, And also before, it was very hard for me every time I am encountering a student with their parents, because I found it really intimidating. Because at first in my mind, I thought that, maybe they're just checking if I'm really teaching. They're checking if I'm really good in in teaching their kid, or if their kids is going to learn something from me. So I have this in the back of my head because of what I have experienced when I'm in Macau by that time, you know. But then as the time went by again, I realized that it's better if the parents are with their sons or daughters, because it would really make my work easier, you know, because they are there to support their kids. They are there to be their teacher at the same time, you know, because sometimes you will really encounter students who are very naughty, who doesn't like to be in front of the camera. I mean, they are in front of the camera, but they don't really like to learn. They're gonna do some silly things and silly stuffs, you know. But you cannot shout at them because, yeah, right? Because you know this, Mr. Bry, because you're an online ESL teacher as well. So you can't really shout at them, you know. If you get angry, you don't really have to get mad at them, you know. That's why I realized that when parents are there, they could really control their students, or their kids rather, you know. So it's very important that there is a support of the parents at the same time, not only you, because you know, in a classroom setup, of course parents are also there. I mean, we are having some meeting with the parents, monthly meeting or weekly meeting with the parents, just to tell them what's going on with their kids. But here in front of the camera or in front of your laptop, it is the supervision of the parents are more. We need more the supervision of the parents, because we don't have choice. You know, we cannot go or we cannot do face to face. So it's just like we just have to adjust and to adapt of what is the new normal right now. And we all know the teachers are very adaptive and very resourceful at all times. So that's it, Sir Bri.
Yeah, that was really good learning on your end, Miss Zelle, that, you know, even if you have all the latest devices, however, you cannot showcase yourself to the student. Those devices will be worthless, because the best, how will I say this, the best realia that we can use, the best TPR provider will be us, the teacher. No device, no materials will match the skills of a real life teacher. So that's really nice to hear from you, Miss Zelle. And finally, for the highlight of this episode, I wanted to know, Miss Zelle, how do you inspire your young learners? What's your secret? Do you have any mantra? Do you have any, you know, special ability that you show to your kids? That's why you inspire them. Share it to us, please.
Okay, so actually each teacher has it, you know. But for me, I think the best key for that is to motivate your students. It's very important. Your words are very powerful to the students, especially those young learners, you know. As you can notice, when they are doing some homework or some project in school and then they're doing it at home, they would say to their mom, no, my teacher said it should be this way and not this way. You know, it means they really trust your words. You know, it means your words are very powerful for them. It's like they listen to you more than their parents, right? So I think that you also encountered that part, that students like really believe in you. So it means that your words are very powerful to them. So as a teacher, I always motivate my students. I always tell them, you know, the simple saying of you can do it, just believe in yourself. It would really boost their self-esteem and self-confidence, you know, just to move forward. You know, I have here one parent. She's Chinese, and then her student is not her student. Her son is doing the music class in one of the places in China. So she told me that her kid is very, very sad. You know, it come to the point that he doesn't want to go to the music lesson or the music class because the teacher said, you've been here for 2 years, to the kid, you've been here for 2 years, but you don't have any improvements. You're still the same, you know. That's why she told me she was also sad because, you know, the words of the teacher really affect her kid, instead of motivating the student, so the student got really, really, I'm not saying depressed, but very sad. It really saddened him hearing that from his teacher. This is why it's very important, Sir Brian, that teachers should know how to motivate their students, because it could really affect the life, even the life of the student, because I myself, I also encountered that one, and I really remember in my mind what my teacher said to me, so it means that your students really, not really idolize you, but you serve as their role model, not only in school but in their life. You could really inspire students in many different ways, as I've told you before, but each of us has unique way to inspire or to motivate our students to become more, or to become a better or best version of themselves. So yeah, I think that would be all, Sir Brian.
Wow, that's all I can say right now when you said how you inspire your young learners. It is really important that we always inspire them and always turn into their best version, because they will be encountering lots of teachers as they grow old, but then there will be one memorable teacher. And as I would say, those teachers who are teaching young learners, they are the most memorable teacher to students, because as they grow old, they will always say that, my teacher when I was in grade 1 or in this grade. Rarely that a student will share a teacher from high school, maybe if they really saw a better teacher to that. But most of the time, when you talk to a young learner up until they go to grade, the first grade, or maybe even fifth grade, they would still remember if their teacher in their preschool, in their kindergarten was really remarkable. And as I can say right now, Ms. Zelle, with your very wonderful story, you are really an inspiring educator for all your students. So, Ms. Zelle, thank you very much. And any last word that you would like to give to all our listeners, to all teachers out there?
I'm sorry, Sir Brian. I'm so sorry because it's raining here, so I couldn't hear your voice clearly.
Sorry. I was just asking Ms. Zelle if you have any, any last words, tips, maybe something that they could reflect with as we end up our session.
Okay, so all right. So my last words, these are for future educators. You have to have a lot of patience, courage, and you must love what you're doing. And most importantly, you should treat your students as your daughters or son, because once you treat them your daughters or son, then there would be smooth teaching, not only the knowledge that you want to impart to them, but also the behavior or the morals, and it always come with a heart when you're teaching. Always put a heart when you're teaching, so that your students will remember you, not only because you are a good teacher, but a teacher with a heart. That's all, Sir Rai. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Uzelle Wagan, for that very, heartwarming yet informative episode with my podcast. So, dear listeners, you've just heard another fantastic teacher wherein she shared her best practices, very practical but very effective, as I might say. And with that, Ms. Wagan, thank you very much. Thank you for dropping by, and I hope this is not the first or the last time that we can have a very smooth podcast episode. All right, thank you, Ms. Wagan.
And Sir Bar, I want to thank you as well, because I'm kind of fond of listening to podcasts. So I'd never thought that I would be heard, and that is because of you. So thank you so much.
No worries, anytime, Miss Zelle. If ever I got or maybe I could invite you to my other podcast. But then this is just the start of a good collaboration with you. So again, from the bottom of my heart, madam, thank you very much. I do appreciate.
Thank you too, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Keep safe.
Thank you. And that's it, dear listeners. And I'm gonna be inviting you again to another episode of Inspiring Educators. Until next time. See ya.